I went into this detox Haymarket house, and I sat down. It was a small chapel, and I sat down and I just started crying and praying and asked God to remove this alcohol and drugs from me. And all of a sudden, a big wind rushed through the place. The door slammed, and I got scared. And I looked up. It wasn't even a window in the place. And that was in October 5th of 1983, and I haven't had a drug or a drink since.
Now, God had His hand on your life.
I don't know. I hope, you know.
He began to snatch you out of that thing.
Yeah, well, it wasn't at that point. I mean, because I went back to the street right after that and became one of the biggest drug dealers in my community.
Well, you'd been an addict, you got cleaned up, and now you were useful again to the gangs.
Yeah.
And a little bit toughened and battle seasoned. Mm-hmm. And so you actually became more effective for a period of time.
For a great period of time.
And then something happened that led you to a crisis where you wanted out. What happened? What brought you to that crisis, and what got you out?
Well, it really wasn't a crisis. I mean, after, you have to understand, I was involved in this thing since I was 8. I remember seeing my first murder. A friend of mine got killed in a drug house, and I had to lay next to him on the floor. His blood ran all on me. And from then on, everything I've seen, I've just became empty. And so God was setting me up then because I had a great friend here in Fresno named Tyrone Bradley, who played basketball for Fresno State. And about 92, his father got sick. And I think in between 92 and 93, his father passed. And so he came to Chicago for the funeral, and I kind of stayed with him the whole week. And so he asked me, and we talked about me coming out and spending Christmas with him. And so I came out in December of 93. And I was going home in a couple of days, and me and Tyrone sat in his backyard till about 6 o'clock that morning. He asked me to stay here and to try to change my life. And so I stayed here and been here ever since. I mean, back and forth to Chicago every couple of years, but Fresno has become my home.
So staying here, you started going to church.
No, I really started going to a men's group at EPU, and a great friend of mine named Elliot Stevenson would ask me to go to different places with him, Yosemite, the beaches down in LA, and so I decided, yeah, I'll go with you because I was just getting into town, really didn't know anyone there, and Elliot was a great guy, and I kind of, him, Curtis Ward, a lot of these guys had a men's group, and I kind of got attached to some of these brothers. And then one day, Elliot asked me to go to church. And so I figured I had been going everywhere else with him. I should go to church with him, and so went to church for the first time and heard the gospel and gave my life to Christ.
And things started changing radically for you.
Yeah, things got real crazy. Yeah, I started just going out thinking that I was the only one that knew about Christ and trying to tell everybody I could see about Christ. And one day got a phone call from Spees and Bruce Carricker and said, meet them at the downtown club. And I come down there and you guys introduce yourself. I remember you was like, well, I'm Spees and I'm Bruce Carrick, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'm Brian King.
So what?
Yeah, and so we became great friends, and you guys became great mentors, and kind of coached me into getting connected with organizations so I wouldn't be out there Lone Ranger Christian. I can be accountable, and I think that's when everything really started to change in my life for real.
Well, you've worked with a number of organizations. You worked with One by One Leadership, right, and with World Impact, and with Hope Now for Youth. Mm-hmm. And now you've started your own organization, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But this last week, there was a very special luncheon that we held in order to get some financial support for Fresno Street Saints. Mm-hmm. And at that luncheon, we had Chief of Police Jerry Dyer come. Mm-hmm. And I've taken some clips, thanks to Channel 49 and the team here. They went out to that luncheon and filmed it. And I've taken 3 clips of the Chief of Police talking about you and your work And I thought those would be good for us to kind of take a look at.
Yeah, let's look at it.
So let's take a look at that first clip right now.
Okay.
And I have worked alongside Brian. Our officers have worked beside him, bringing broken neighborhoods back to life. We are very much engaged in that. And so when we talk about trying to arrest our way out of a circumstance or situation that we're in today, we'll never be able to do that. You know, when I was a young officer, that's what I thought. I thought you could pull out your handcuffs and make a lot of arrests, and eventually we would win. And what I realized over the years is that that's not the case. It is a big part of it, but it is not the answer. And simply what we do on the suppression side and the enforcement side is we create an environment within our community that makes it very uncomfortable for individuals to want to be involved in criminal activity or to be involved in gangs. And so we create that incentive for individuals to get out of gangs, and we create a disincentive for our youth to get in gangs. And then we have people like Brian King and Street Saints that come alongside of these individuals that are tired of that lifestyle, and they provide them an opportunity to drop out of the gang and to get a productive life.
You know, Brian, what the chief is saying there, really, I mean, we love Chief Dyer because he always tells us the truth. And what he's really saying there is that cops can't do it alone.
Yeah, and I think that we have bought in that Fresno is our city, including West Fresno. You know, there's been a big tale of there's a tale of two cities, and we don't believe that. You know, and it's going to take this whole village to really attack these problems that we're having in our city, not West Fresno, our city. Yeah. And so we believe in what Chief is saying about they can't lock up the problems, and we understand that we can't do it ourselves either. So with a collaborative effort from clergy, church, businessmen, law enforcement, I think that we can definitely put our arms around, especially West Fresno.
And we don't have projects that are so huge like you do in Chicago, but we do have projects here, and some of those have become seed beds of violence and gang activity. And you're working in some of those projects. Yeah,
we work in some of the lowest income, high crime areas in West Fresno. We're in Big V, Martin Luther King and Westgate, where there are a bunch of great people, you know, and we just don't work with gang kids. We work with preventative stuff. We prevent kids from even wanting to go to that lifestyle, and we do some intervention. We work with kids who want to get out, you know, and so being in those housing complexes gives us a great opportunity to really be a relationships. Yep. One of the things we read out in Baltimore, there was a guy talking to a father out there of a Catholic church, and he was telling them that Monday when little Joey comes out, I'm there. Tuesday when he comes out, I'm there. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm there. So Sunday we'll let you have them because we're going to win and you're going to lose. So we believe exactly what that gang member said. So now Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're in Westgate, we're in Martin Luther King, and we're in West Fresno. So we win and the gangs lose.
Amen. Well, you know, you were mentioning to me before the show that the police just recently did a huge attack and basically dismantled a gang. And you were saying that, yeah, they did a fantastic job, but that particular gang now is a target for you in the sense that you're trying to keep them from reforming.
Well, it's not just that particular gang, any gang. I mean, gangs have been here. This gang he was talking about has been here since the 80s. I don't think he arrested the guy that started in the 80s. Mm-hmm. So wherever these guys come from, there's still another pool of guys that they can still go from. And so our deal is, because we're in that position over there in that particular community, is that we want to be as preventative as we can, you know, and gangs, they flourish, you know, they again, I say they create their own society, and so the police have